Anthropic is so back, baby. They just struck back by extending the context window for Claude for Sonnet to 1 million tokens. What the heck does that mean? In this video, I'm going to get into why size matters, what the heck a context window is, and why all the other big tech companies that have anything to do with AI are involved in this context window size measuring contest. So for a bit of context here, we're going to have to get into why it's measured in tokens and not words. And that is primarily because, as smart as you think LLMs are, they don't understand words the way you and I do. Instead, they comprehend tokens. So a token is basically a word or a partial word that LLMs assign a numerical value to. And it's these numerical values that LLMs use to reason about with these tokens and therefore with words. For example, the word intelligence may be tokenized into two separate tokens, Intel and Legends, and then these tokens are going to be assigned individual numerical values. So a context window of 1 million tokens is going to translate approximately to about 750 words, which is still pretty impressive because that's a context window that is big enough to accommodate the entire trilogy of the Lord of the Rings novels. Okay, but why does that even matter? You can think about a context window as the working memory of an LLM. Anything that fits into the context window, it can remember, it can work with, it can lean on when it's coming up with new responses to any follow-up questions you ask. It can be consistent with all the information that is present in the context window. Anything that falls outside of the context window, it will simply forget. This is why when you're having a particularly long conversation with ChatGPT, it may just tell you, hey, you're reaching the maximum length of this conversation, you better start a new chat. And this is because for every chat you send in a conversation you're having with ChatGPT, it will send the entire conversation history in that chat request before it gives you back a response. So let's say hypothetically you're trying to set up a business and you start a conversation with ChatGPT about your business plan. You tell it where you want to set the business up, what kind of products you want to sell, who you think your competitors are going to be, what your go-to-market strategy is. And for any new response that ChatGPT comes up with in that conversation, it is going to remember all of that information that you've just volunteered to the conversation until it can't remember that anymore. But let's be real, you guys are plebeians. There's no way you're going to come up with a business plan that is going to exceed 750,000 words or more. But what is important to remember is that because everything, the entire context window is sent in each new chat you add to a conversation, the longer a conversation gets, the more expensive it is to maintain that conversation. The main use case that benefits the most from a larger context window is the same use case that the GPT-5 release video was mostly about. It's the same use case that enterprises are shelling out tons and tons of money to support, and it's the same use case that has OpenAI and Anthropic at loggerheads out trying to outcompete with each other. And that use case is coding. Having a really large context window not only means that an LLM is able to contain the entire code base of a particular repository, because let's be honest, that's not a ton of tokens, but it also means that it's able to keep in memory all the follow-up changes and new features, etc., that has been added by this LLM so that it can continue to be consistent with any new features and code changes it makes in follow-up requests. But not all context windows are created the same. For example, GPT 4.1, Gemini 2.5 Pro, Llama 4 Maverick, they all offer context window lengths of 1 million tokens. But Claude for Sonnet still performs the best when it comes to coding tasks, and it hallucinates a lot less compared to these other models, at least from initial testing. Which just goes to show that it's not the size of the boat, but the motion of the ocean that makes all the difference. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something useful. Please let me know in the comments what you'd like me to make a video about next. Like, subscribe, and share this video if you found this useful, and I will see you in the next one.